First contact assessment. Begin sinological assessment. Subject: dominant species of planetary designation KT-3271, locally known as Earth. Chief Researcher Valax adjusted the collar of her research uniform, her four eyes blinking independently as they scanned the holographic data floating before her. The blue-green planet rotated slowly in the center of the lab, a seemingly ordinary world in an unremarkable solar system at the edge of the Milky Way. Assessment Day 42, she continued, and I remain disturbed by our findings. Her assistant, Nexer, a lanky bite with translucent skin that revealed the rhythmic pulsing of his three hearts, looked up from his console. Disturbed, Chief? That's rather unprofessional terminology. Velax's dorsal spines flattened, a sign of irritation among the Zenth. When you've reviewed the data I have, Nexer, professional detachment becomes challenging. She gestured to the hologram, which shifted to display various scenes of human activity. Cities bustling with movement, vehicles traversing every type of terrain, aircraft slicing through the atmosphere, watercraft navigating turbulent oceans. These creatures, these humans, appear physically unremarkable at first assessment. No protective exoskeleton, minimal dermal protection, no natural weaponry beyond blunt teeth and fragile claws, no venomous capabilities, no exceptional strength relative to other apex predators on their world. Velax brought up comparative biology charts. Their sensory capabilities are mediocre at best. Their visual acuity is surpassed by numerous avian species. Their auditory range is limited. Their olfactory senses are almost embarrassingly dull. By all objective measures, they should be prey animals. Yet they've achieved spaceflight, Nexer observed, his skin shifting to a curious blue hue. Precisely. Velax expanded the hologram, showing humans in various environments, scaling ice-covered mountains, diving into crushing ocean depths, trekking across scorching deserts, and surviving in the most inhospitable regions of their world. This is what makes them unique in our catalog of over 15,000 sentient species. They are pursuit predators who evolved intelligence. Pursuit predators. Nexer's third heart skipped a beat. But that evolutionary path doesn't lead to civilization. The energy expenditure alone would normally prevent the development of higher cognitive functions. Velax finished. Yet somehow, these humans maintained both their predatory instincts and developed unprecedented intellectual capabilities. The hologram shifted again, displaying humans engaged in what they called sports, running impossible distances, swimming through treacherous waters, climbing sheer cliffs, all done voluntarily, for recreation. They call this fun, Velax said, her voice tinged with disbelief. They deliberately seek out physical challenges and environmental extremes that would kill most species, and observe their persistence. The display showed human long-distance runners, moving hour after hour without rest. They don't rely on speed or strength to hunt. They relied on endurance. Throughout their evolutionary history, they would literally chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They called it persistence hunting. What kind of evolutionary nightmare produces a creature that considers extreme cardiovascular exertion enjoyable? Nexer's skin had paled considerably, and their social structures even more terrifying, Velax said, bringing up footage of human military exercises. They're pack hunters who've scaled cooperation to a planetary level. Different tribes, languages, cultures, all potentially hostile to each other, yet maintaining enough cohesion to advance technologically at a frightening pace. She pulled up a timeline of human technological development, from primitive stone tools to rudimentary space travel in less than 10,000 years. For comparison, the Zenth took 30,000 years to make the same journey, and were considered rapid developers by galactic standards. But surely they have limitations, Nexer asked hopefully. Their greatest limitation is, paradoxically, their greatest strength. Velax zoomed in on human medical facilities. Their physical vulnerability forced them to become problem solvers. Can't fly. Build machines that do. Too slow. Create vehicles faster than any biological entity. Too soft. Develop artificial armor. Too weak. Design tools that multiply their strength 1,000-fold. Velax collapsed into her seat, suddenly looking exhausted. But here's what truly disturbs me, Nexer. Their drive. Their relentlessness. When most species find comfort, they stop evolving. They settle. Humans. They keep pushing, always wanting more. More territory. More resources. More knowledge. The lab door hissed open, admitting Fleet Commander Therex, his metallic exoskeleton gleaming under the laboratory lights. I've reviewed your preliminary report, Chief Researcher. Your recommendation to classify Earth as a quarantine zone is noted, but the Council believes there's scientific value in establishing contact. Velax's spines shot up in alarm. Commander, with respect, direct contact would be premature. We've observed concerning patterns in how humans respond to perceived threats. They're remarkably paranoid for an apex species, likely because they evolved surrounded by larger predators. Therex made a dismissive gesture with one of his forearms. The Council has decided. We've selected a contact team specializing in primitive species integration. Their vessel departs tomorrow. After Therex left, Nexer turned to Velax, his skin now a sickly yellow. They're making a mistake, aren't they? Velax stared at the rotating image of Earth, watching lightning storms flash across its atmosphere. Let's hope the contact team understands what they're dealing with. These aren't just animals that evolved intelligence, Nexer. These are predators that evolved intelligence. There's a critical difference. She brought up one final image. Humans engaged in warfare, their primitive but effective weapons unleashing destruction on their own kind. The galaxy has no classification for what these creatures are, she said quietly. The Council thinks we're about to study them. I fear they're about to study us. The first contact vessel, Harmonious Exchange, entered Earth orbit under complete stealth protocols, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to human detection systems. The ship positioned itself over the northern hemisphere, above a region the humans called North America, chosen for its technological development and political influence. Contact specialist Srin reviewed the latest data from the research vessel. As the Galactic Alliance's foremost expert on integrating pre-FTL civilizations into the interstellar community, he had overseen first contact with 17 species. None had filled him with the unease he felt reviewing the human assessment. They're not ready, he muttered to his second-in-command, Ilara. Look at these conflict patterns. Their recorded history is essentially a continuous series of wars interrupted by brief periods of peace. Ilara, a willowy humanoid with feathered skin and large, gold-flecked eyes, studied the holographic display. True, but the same could be said of the Vorax, and they've become valuable members of the Alliance. The Vorax were herbivores who fought over territory. Zring countered. These humans are omnivores with predatory instincts. They don't just fight for resources. They fight for dominance, for ideology, sometimes seemingly for the sake of fighting itself. The research vessel's assessment seems colored by fear, Ilara observed. Chief Researcher Velax admits her own discomfort influenced her analysis. Zrin's skin mottled with concern, the equivalent of a frown. Perhaps, but fear often serves a purpose. He brought up footage of human emergency responders rushing into a burning building. Look at this behavior. They risk their lives for strangers. Most species would flee from danger, but humans routinely run toward it. More images appeared. Humans diving into turbulent waters to save others, entering areas of natural disaster, confronting armed attackers to protect others. It's not just physical courage, Zring continued. Their problem-solving capabilities are exceptional, especially under pressure. The display showed humans in various crisis situations, improvising tools, creating complex solutions with limited resources, working cooperatively to overcome seemingly impossible challenges. Their adaptability is unprecedented, Ilara agreed. But isn't that a positive trait? Adaptability coupled with aggression and territorial expansion. Zrin shook his head. The combination concerns me. A soft chime interrupted them. A proximity alert. Zrin quickly checked the sensors and froze. 3 human aircraft approaching our position, he said, tension evident in his voice. But that's impossible. Our cloaking technology is being actively scanned, the ship's AI announced. Unusual energy patterns detected. The human aircraft appear to be using atmospheric distortion analysis to track our position. Zrin and Ilara exchanged alarmed glances. How? Ilara whispered. They shouldn't have that capability. They shouldn't have detected us at all. Zrin replied grimly. Initiate contact protocol Theta 9. If they found us, we need to control the narrative. As the ship's systems prepared for first contact, Zrin watched the human aircraft circling below, their pattern methodical, predatory. Chief Researcher Velax's warning echoed in his mind. These aren't just animals that evolved intelligence. These are predators that evolved intelligence. Send a narrow-band transmission to their aircraft, he ordered. Standard greeting package, simplified language protocols. The message was transmitted, a carefully crafted introduction explaining their peaceful intentions, their desire for cultural exchange, and their non-interference policy. The response came almost immediately, not from the aircraft, but from a ground-based facility. The translation matrix processed the human language, and a voice filled the command center. Unidentified craft. This is United Earth Defense Command. You have entered restricted airspace without authorization. Descend to coordinates being transmitted and power down all systems, or we will consider your presence a hostile act. They're threatening us. Ilara's feathers bristled in shock. Zrin's skin darkened with concern. No, they're hunting us, and somehow they've cornered us before we even reveal ourselves. The first contact mission was already going very, very wrong. The misunderstanding. All defense systems on standby. Maintain non-aggressive posture. Zrin's orders hung in the tense air of the Harmonious Exchanges Command Center as the ship began a controlled descent toward the coordinates transmitted by the humans. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to proceed, with the advanced civilization following the primitive one's commands. But the situation had spiraled beyond standard protocols. They're escorting us, Ilara observed, watching as the human aircraft formed a tight formation around their still-cloaked vessel. Their precision is impressive. They're treating us like a captured prey animal, Zrin replied grimly. Notice how they've positioned themselves to block potential escape vectors. The ship's external sensors captured high-resolution images of the human aircraft, sleek, predatory designs with weapon systems prominently displayed. Not subtle, these humans. They wanted the visitors to know they were armed. Incoming transmission, the ship's AI announced. A human voice filled the command center. Unidentified craft. Maintain current descent trajectory. Any deviation will be interpreted as hostile action. We have multiple weapon systems locked on your position. They're bluffing, Security Chief Krav asserted, his armored exoskeleton clicking as he shifted position. Their primitive weaponry couldn't penetrate our shields. Zrin wasn't so confident. Do not underestimate them, Chief. They detected us despite our advanced cloaking technology. We should assume they have other capabilities we haven't anticipated. The descent continued in tense silence. Below, a massive human military installation came into view, a sprawling complex surrounded by layered security barriers, weapon emplacements, and what appeared to be experimental technology facilities. They're taking us to a military research base, Ilara said quietly. Not a diplomatic facility. Zrin nodded. They're treating this as a security incident, not a cultural exchange. Prepare first contact package beta, the one designed for potentially hostile species. As the Harmonious Exchange touched down on a reinforced landing pad, they were surrounded by human military vehicles and personnel in protective gear, weapons trained on the still invisible ship. Deactivate cloaking, Zrin ordered. Let's not antagonize them further. The ship shimmered into visibility, eliciting an immediate response from the humans. Their formation tightened, weapons raised, but they maintained discipline. No panicked firing, no chaotic movement, just controlled, coordinated response to a potential threat. "Open the main hatch," Zrin commanded. "Ilara, you're with me. First contact team only. No security personnel. We need to appear non-threatening." Chief Krav objected immediately. "Sir, protocol dictates. Protocol assumes we initiate contact in controlled circumstances," Zrin interrupted. "Those circumstances no longer apply. We adapt or we fail." As the hatch opened and the embarkation ramp extended, Zrin and Ilara stepped forward, their environmental suits designed to approximate their natural forms while protecting them from potential pathogens. They had chosen not to disguise themselves as humans. Transparency seemed the wisest course now. The human response was immediate and disciplined. A perimeter formed around the ship, weapons aimed but not firing. From behind this line emerged a smaller group, 5 humans in what appeared to be a mixture of military and scientific attire. One stepped forward, a female, judging by the secondary sexual characteristics noted in their research. She wore a uniform adorned with symbols of rank and spoke with clear authority. "I am General Helena Chen, United Earth Defense Force. Identify yourselves and state your purpose for entering Earth's atmosphere without authorization." The translation matrix processed her words, and Zrin responded in the human's dominant global language. "I am Contact Specialist Zrin of the Galactic Alliance. We come in peace, seeking cultural exchange and mutual understanding between our civilizations." General Chen's expression remained impassive. "You were observing us. For how long?" The directness of the question caught Zrin off guard. Honesty seemed prudent. "Our research vessel has been monitoring your civilization for approximately 3 of your Earth years." A murmur ran through the gathered humans. Chen's eyes narrowed. "And you didn't consider introducing yourselves before conducting surveillance on our planet?" "Standard protocol for pre-FTL civilizations," Zrin explained. "We observe before initiating contact to ensure cultural compatibility and minimize potential harm." "So you've been spying on us," Chen translated bluntly, "gathering intelligence on our capabilities, our weaknesses." Ilara stepped forward. "Not for any hostile purpose. We seek only to understand." "Understanding can be achieved through conversation," Chen countered, "not covert surveillance." The tension ratcheted higher as more human military vehicles arrived, surrounding the landing area. Zrin noticed something alarming. The humans were deploying equipment that appeared designed to disable electronic systems. They were preparing containment protocols. "General Chen," Zrin said carefully, "I sense a misunderstanding. Our intentions are peaceful. We have much to offer in terms of knowledge and technology." "Technology you use to spy on us," Chen replied. "You'll understand if we're cautious about your intentions." She gestured to the scientists beside her. "These representatives will work with you to establish communication protocols. Your vessel will remain grounded until our security concerns are addressed." Zrin recognized the situation for what it was, not negotiation, but terms of surrender. The humans had no intention of letting them leave until they had extracted whatever information and technology they could. "This approach may damage the potential for productive relations between our peoples," Zrin warned. Chen's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Consider it a cultural exchange, Specialist Zrin. You've observed us without our knowledge or consent. Now we'd like to observe you, with your full cooperation, of course." As the human scientific team approached, Zrin sent a subtle communication signal to the ship. "Initiative Protocol Evasion 7. The response was immediate. The Harmonious Exchange's defense systems activated, not firing weapons but generating an electromagnetic pulse that disabled the human electronic equipment. In the resulting confusion, Zrin and Ilara retreated up the ramp as the ship's engines powered up. "Containment protocol," Chen shouted, her voice barely audible over the engines. "Do not let them leave." Human weapons fired, primitive projectiles, and energy weapons that splashed harmlessly against the ship's shields. As the Harmonious Exchange lifted off, Zrin felt no triumph, only a deepening concern. The humans had almost trapped them with technology that should have been centuries beyond their capabilities. "Set course for the research vessel," he ordered. "We need to warn them." A massive energy surge registered on their sensors, originating from the human facility below. Before Zrin could order evasive maneuvers, something struck the ship, not a conventional weapon, but a focused energy beam that somehow interfered with their propulsion system. Engines failing, the AI reported as the ship began to lose altitude. Unknown technology affecting gravitic stabilizers. The research data, Ilara realized in horror. They studied our cloaking technology and developed a countermeasure in days. As the harmonious exchange plummeted toward the surface, Zrin had one final thought before impact. Chief Researcher Velax had been right. These weren't just intelligent beings. These were predators who had turned their evolutionary hunting instincts toward the stars. And now they had captured their first interstellar prey. The crash site was a chaos of twisted metal and scattered technology. The harmonious exchange, once a marvel of interstellar engineering, lay broken in a remote forest region, its hull breached in multiple places, systems offline. Security Chief Krav had assumed command after contact specialist Zrin was severely injured in the crash. With Ilara's help, he had organized the surviving crew, established a defensive perimeter, and activated the emergency beacon. "How long until the research vessel responds?" Ilara asked, tending to an injured crew member. Krav's expression was grim. "If they received our warning, they may have already left the system, abandoned us." Ilara's feathers flattened in dismay. "Tactical retreat," Krav corrected. "If they escaped, they can return with reinforcements." A sensor alert drew their attention. Krav checked the portable scanner, his armored exoskeleton shifting as he tensed. Multiple human aircraft approaching. Ground vehicles, too. He made a quick calculation. Estimate 50 to 60 humans, heavily armed. They followed our crash trajectory, Ilara realized. How quickly can we repair the communications array? Not quickly enough. Krav distributed weapons to the crew. Defensive tools designed to incapacitate without killing. Remember, non-lethal force only. These are primitives reacting to perceived threats. As the human forces surrounded the crash site, establishing a perimeter with methodical precision, Krav observed their tactics with professional appreciation. They moved like experienced hunters, using the terrain for cover, maintaining multiple angles of approach, cutting off potential escape routes. "They're communicating," Ilara whispered, pointing to the subtle hand signals the humans used, coordinating their approach without speaking. "Pack hunting behavior," Krav noted, just as the research indicated. A human voice boomed through an amplification device. "Attention alien vessel. You are surrounded. Exit your craft with hands visible and empty. Compliance will be rewarded with medical attention for your injured." "They're offering aid," Ilara said hopefully. "They're offering bait," Krav countered. "Establish a defensive position in the main cargo hold. We need to hold out until." The attack came without warning, not from the human military forces visibly surrounding them, but from a smaller team that had somehow approached undetected. Stun grenades detonated around the perimeter, temporarily overloading the aliens' sensory organs. In the confusion, human special forces breached the hull through the damage points, moving with shocking speed and coordination. Their weapons fired tranquilizer darts rather than lethal ammunition. They wanted prisoners, not casualties. Krav managed to incapacitate 2 humans before a dart found a gap in his exoskeleton. As consciousness faded, his last thought was grudging respect. These humans had outmaneuvered a technologically superior force through sheer tactical ingenuity. The hunt had been brief, efficient, and decisive. The predators had won. Unlikely alliance. Emergency Council Session 379, regarding the Earth situation. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Alliance Council hummed with tense conversation as representatives from 200 spacefaring civilizations discussed the crisis. At the center of the chamber, A holographic display showed the human military facility where the Harmonious exchange crew were being held. High Counselor Vex, a crystalline entity whose translucent body pulsed with neural energy, called the session to order. We face an unprecedented situation. A pre-FTL species has captured Alliance citizens and technology. The research vessel Stellar Observer escaped and has provided troubling data about human capabilities. Chief Researcher Valak stepped forward, her spines flat against her body in a formal presentation posture. The humans have already begun reverse engineering our technology. Their adaptive problem-solving abilities exceed anything we've encountered. At their current pace, they will achieve functional understanding of our propulsion systems within weeks, not years. Impossible, scoffed the Tauran representative, his massive insectoid form towering over the others. No species can assimilate advanced technology so quickly. These humans can, Valax insisted. Moreover, they've established communication with our captured personnel and are extracting information at an alarming rate. Fleet Commander Therex, now leading the crisis response, addressed the Council. We have 3 options. First, a rescue mission to extract our people and destroy all technology at the crash site. Second, full military intervention to contain the human threat. Third, diplomatic engagement to negotiate the release of our personnel. There is no diplomatic precedent for this situation, objected the myriad diplomat, her 12 eyes blinking in sequence. We cannot negotiate as equals with primitives. These primitives captured a vessel with technology centuries beyond their development level, Velax reminded them. Perhaps it's time to reconsider our definition of primitive. The debate might have continued indefinitely if not for the urgent message that interrupted the proceedings. The chamber's main display shifted to show a deep space monitoring station at the edge of Alliance territory. The station commander's voice was tight with barely controlled panic. Council, we're detecting multiple harvester vessels entering Alliance space. Current trajectory indicates they're heading directly for the Sol system, for Earth. Silence fell over the Council chamber. The harvesters, a nomadic predatory species that consumed biological matter on a planetary scale, had been the Alliance's greatest threat for centuries. They appeared rarely but devastated any world they touched, stripping it of all organic life before disappearing back into the void. How many vessels? Fleet Commander Therex asked, already calculating defense scenarios. 7 motherships, each with support craft, came the grim reply. A full harvest fleet. High Counselor Vex's crystalline form darkened with concern. Time to Earth intercept. Approximately 72 standard hours. The implications were clear. Earth, with its rich biosphere and abundant life, would make a perfect harvester target. And the Alliance citizens held captive there would be consumed along with humanity. Evacuation is impossible on that timeline, Therex stated. Even with our fastest vessels, we could only save a fraction of our people, let alone the humans. Then we must defend the planet, Vex declared, not just for our captured citizens, but because no sentient species deserves the harvester's fate. Fleet Commander Therex nodded grimly. I'll deploy all available battle groups, but against 7 motherships. He didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone knew the odds. Chief Researcher Valak stepped forward again. There is another option. All eyes turned to her. We tell the humans. Tell primitives about an interstellar threat. The Tauran representative's mandibles clicked in agitation. They would panic, become unmanageable. I don't believe they would, Velax countered. Based on our observations, humans demonstrate remarkable composure in crisis situations. More importantly, they excel at asymmetric warfare, finding ways to defeat technologically superior opponents. You suggest we arm them? Therex asked incredulously. Give predators access to advanced weapons. I suggest we partner with them, Velax clarified. The harvesters have defeated our conventional tactics for centuries. Perhaps it's time for unconventional ones. After heated debate, the Council approved a desperate plan. A diplomatic vessel would approach Earth openly, contact the human leaders directly and offer a temporary alliance against the Harvester threat. In a secure conference room deep beneath the Pentagon, General Helena Chen stared at the alien data with a mixture of disbelief and growing horror. Beside her, the alien diplomat, a different species from their captives, one that called itself a Meridian, waited patiently as Earth's military and political leaders processed the information. "You're telling us that planet-eating monsters will arrive in less than 3 days?" President Rodriguez asked, her voice steady despite the existential threat just revealed. "The Harvesters don't eat planets," the Meridian diplomat, Soren, clarified. "They consume all organic matter, all life, from a world's surface before moving on. They've destroyed 17 known civilizations in the last millennium." Defense Secretary Wallace leaned forward. "And why should we believe this isn't some elaborate rescue attempt for your captured people?" Soren's translucent skin rippled, apparently an expression of grim amusement. "Because if we wanted to rescue them, we would simply deploy overwhelming military force. The Alliance battle fleet approaching your system contains 87 vessels, each capable of orbital bombardment that would reduce your military installations to ash. Yet you're asking for our help," Chen observed. "Why?" "Because conventional tactics have failed against the Harvesters for centuries," Soren replied. "Your species' unique approach to warfare, your adaptability, your unconventional thinking, your remarkable ability to improvise, represents an unknown variable that might change the equation." President Rodriguez exchanged glances with her advisors before addressing the alien again. "What exactly are you proposing?" "A temporary alliance," Soren said. "We provide the technology and ships. You provide the tactical innovation and fighting forces. Together, we defend your world." "And afterward?" Chen asked. "Assuming we survive." Soren's skin shifted to a more formal pattern. "Afterward, we negotiate proper first contact protocols. The circumstances of our initial meeting were unfortunate. We would begin again, as equals." "Equals?" Secretary Wallace scoffed. "You just admitted your technology is centuries beyond ours." "Technology is merely one measure of advancement," Soren replied. "By others, your adaptability, your ingenuity under pressure, your species' remarkable drive. You may be further along than we are." After the aliens departed to allow Earth's leaders to deliberate, General Chen found herself standing alone with President Rodriguez, both women staring at the tactical displays showing the approaching Harvester fleet. "Do you believe them?" Rodriguez asked quietly. Chen considered her answer carefully. "I believe the threat is real. Our captive aliens have been terrified since our deep space arrays detected the approaching vessels, long before this diplomatic outreach. Their fear isn't manufactured. And their offer of alliance, genuine desperation," Chen assessed. "They've fought these Harvesters before and lost. They're hoping we'll see something they missed." A grim smile touched her lips. "It's almost flattering, in a way." The President's decision came within the hour. Earth would accept the alliance offer, but with conditions. Humans would command joint operations, alliance technology would be shared openly during the crisis, and all captive aliens would remain under human protection as technical advisors. The next 72 hours saw the most remarkable technological transfer in human history. Alliance engineers worked alongside Earth's scientists, modifying human weapons systems to be effective against Harvester biology. Human military personnel trained to operate Alliance fighter craft. And perhaps most importantly, human tactical experts devoured information about previous Harvester encounters, looking for patterns the Alliance had missed. General Chen found herself working directly with contact specialist Srin, now recovered from his injuries, and serving as a liaison. As they reviewed footage of previous Harvester attacks, Chen noticed something. "They attack in predictable patterns," she observed. "Always the same approach vector, always the same deployment sequence." Drin nodded. "Their tactics have remained unchanged for centuries. They've never needed to evolve them because they've always been successful." Chen's eyes narrowed. "That's not evolution. That's stagnation. She pulled up Earth's military history. Look at how human warfare has changed in just the last century. We adapt because we have to, because we face enemies of comparable intelligence and capability. The Harvesters have never faced a serious challenge, Zrin realized. Then let's give them one. Chen began outlining a plan that made Zrin's 4 eyes widen in disbelief. That strategy violates every principle of space combat in the Alliance tactical database, he objected. Good. Chen smiled, a predator's smile that made Zrin momentarily uneasy. Then the Harvesters won't expect it either. The battle for Earth began exactly as the Alliance had predicted. 7 massive Harvester motherships, each 10 kilometers long, appearing at the edge of the solar system, accompanied by swarms of smaller craft. What the Harvesters encountered, however, was unlike anything they had faced in their long history of consuming civilized worlds. Instead of the conventional defense formation they had defeated countless times, capital ships arranged in layered defensive positions around the target planet, they found a chaotic, seemingly disorganized arrangement of Alliance and human vessels scattered throughout the solar system. Some human ships appeared to flee in panic, drawing Harvester pursuit vessels away from the main fleet. Others hid in the shadow of planets and moons, power systems minimal to avoid detection. Alliance vessels moved in patterns that contradicted all established tactical doctrine. The Harvesters, following their immutable protocols, pressed forward toward Earth, directly into the trap General Chen had devised. As the Harvester fleet passed Mars, the fleeing human ships suddenly reversed course, revealing themselves as heavily modified nuclear missile carriers. Their warheads, enhanced with Alliance technology, detonated in precisely calculated patterns that disrupted the Harvesters' formation. Simultaneously, the hidden vessels emerged from concealment, attacking from multiple vectors in small, coordinated strike teams, mixed crews of humans and Alliance personnel, combining human tactical flexibility with alien technology. On the command deck of the Alliance flagship Righteous Dawn, Fleet Commander Therex watched in astonishment as the battle unfolded according to General Chen's unorthodox plan. They're creating tactical chaos, he observed as human-piloted Alliance fighters executed maneuvers that Alliance pilots would never attempt. High-risk, high-reward attacks that targeted previously unknown vulnerabilities in Harvester defense systems. They're hunting, Chief Researcher Valax corrected, watching the tactical display with professional fascination. Look at their attack patterns. They're not trying to defeat the Harvesters through superior firepower. They're exploiting weaknesses, forcing reactions, learning with each engagement. General Chen's voice came through the communication system. First phase complete. Harvester fleet cohesion disrupted. Commencing secondary strikes. The next phase of the human strategy became apparent as specially modified craft approached the Harvester motherships. Rather than attempting to destroy the massive vessels, an almost impossible task, they targeted propulsion and navigation systems with surgical precision. They're disabling, not destroying, Therex realized, immobilizing the threat. Like predators hamstringing larger prey, Valax noted, making it vulnerable for the kill. The final phase of the human strategy was the most audacious, and the one that had met the most resistance from Alliance tacticians. As the disabled Harvester motherships drifted, human-led boarding teams launched from concealed positions, breaching the massive vessels and fighting their way to critical systems. This is madness, Therex had objected during planning. The interior of Harvester vessels is toxic to most species. The defense mechanisms alone are designed to repel conventional attacks, Chen had countered. Not small, determined teams with specific objectives. We don't need to conquer their ships. We just need to reach their central processing nodes. Now, as the boarding operation proceeded, Therex watched the tactical feeds with growing respect. The human-led teams moved with precision and adaptability, changing tactics on the fly as they encountered Harvester internal defenses. After 18 hours of continuous combat, the unthinkable happened. The Harvester motherships began to retreat, their swarm intelligence apparently determining that this prey was not worth the unprecedented losses they had sustained. As the remains of the Harvester fleet disappeared into deep space, the combined human and Alliance forces erupted in celebration. Aboard the Righteous Dawn, Fleet Commander Therex formally congratulated General Chen on her victory. "Your strategy," he admitted, "contradicted everything.